Are we aging out of comic book collecting? How dare you? We're seeing it with titles like Foxhole and other classics.
Force is strong with this one. Our hot book this week is Star Wars #1 from Marvel. Once a 4K book, it's still holding value thanks to Andor Season 2.
And we also spotlight Star Wars 102 from Marvel's 1985 run, where they're wrapping up the character arcs, unexpected returns, and the final countdown to the original series end. All of this flashback, paraphernalia, and more on a new episode of Bronze and Modern Gods. Hello, everyone, and hello, Richard. How you doing?
I'm doing good, John. How are you doing?
I'm okay. Hey, all the usual stuff. Like, subscribe, follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Bronze and Modern Gods. Do all that fun engagement stuff for us. We truly appreciate it. Let's get started right at the top of the show. So,
one thing, have we mentioned we hit 7,000 on the regular show? I know we mentioned it in the...
No, we talked about it on Thursday's live stream for the members. But yes, thank you, everyone. Richard, thank you for reminding me. Tell everybody the news.
Yes, we hit finally after 5 years, we've hit 7,000 subscribers, which is an awesome number. You know, no one's keeping score, but we're keeping score.
Well, I mean, I'm 7,000 is honestly 6,990 more than I ever thought we would get.
Right.
I mean, let's be honest here. You got two middle-aged, post-middle-aged guys talking about comic books, and 7,000 of you give a crap. I mean, I'm blown away. We love each and every one of you. We thank each and every one of you, and we're going to keep doing it until we probably drop.
Drop what?
drop our collections. This is what I want to talk about. This is what the teaser was about. Like you, and I'm sure like many of you out there, you have some email alerts for your favorite books, right? So right. So you know when they come up. You can kind of, when you have email alerts, you kind of know the ebb and flow of certain titles that you're looking for. This week, in fact, today, we're recording this over the weekend, I got my morning alert for Foxhole, the Jack Kirby title that he did in the 50s for Mainline. Very prestigious, tough to get book and grade. The series, 7 issues, 5 of them with Mainline, which was Jack and Joe Simon's company. And then they sold the inventory to Charlton for the last 2 issues. And they're tough. I have a run here. I still need a number 5, but I kind of look, you know, to see what's happening with the other issues. This morning, I get this alert. I'm going to put on the screen now. There are 4 Foxhole number 2s on eBay at once.
That's crazy.
I've never seen that. Now, let me preface all this. This is a focus group of 1. This is completely anecdotal. I don't do the trend. It's Swaggle House. You're much better at this than I am. Comic book investments. I don't do that. I just kind of go with what I see, what's happening with me and my collection and the books I want. I have never seen this number of Foxholes on eBay at the same time.
What do you think is making it happen then?
We're getting older. Who wants this stuff? Who has this stuff? Who is getting rid of this stuff now? Are people aging out? Are younger people not? Who's under 40 wanting Foxhole? I guess is my question.
But I'm seeing, I mean, look at the value. There must still be a demand. I mean, a 4.0. This is an ask price, of course, but
exactly.
$4,000 ask price for a 4.0. There's got to be people out there who want that book.
That's nutty. 4,000 is too much. I mean, all 3 prices I think are slightly over asking. I mean, they're asking $1,750 for a 1.8. Now, I think I sent you in our little text group another shot earlier this week of a Foxhole number 1 where someone wanted $11,000 for it. I mean, just because you're asking for something, what you want to get is not necessarily what you're gonna get. To quote the immortal Gia Gunn from Dragon Ball.
I see it a different way. I instead of seeing people aging out, I see people being more discerning in their collection. I mean, I know I have. I don't buy willy-nilly like I have for the past few years just because something is a hot book. You know, I don't, the FOMO in me doesn't really exist anymore. So when I spend money, it is on specific targeted books. And books like this Foxhole would be perfect for someone who has an itch for those kinds of classic war stories. What would you rather have? A really rare book, or one rare book, or 25 random books that you get from general collection? I'd rather have a focused collection that is targeting the books that I really like and really enjoy. And that may be what's happening now.
I agree, but how does that explain how 4 of them are in the market at the same time in the same week?
Could be people are trimming the collections of
Oh,
extras,
I
or
see what you're saying. Okay,
yeah,
like me. I mean, I've been having live sales where I'm getting rid of stuff that, why do I have this? Why do I have a chamber of
right.
of dark?
Maybe these people are all Western collectors, and they happen to get these Foxhole books as part of collections they've purchased in the past. They don't mean as much to them as those Western books, and therefore they're selling them off to get more money to buy books of their particular genre.
Like I said, entirely anecdotal, just something I noticed, something I wanted to spark discussion. What do you guys think? Is this crazy times? I mean, look at the Action 1s and the Detective 27s that have come to market the last year.
Yeah, yeah, those are big boy books, and those are more investment vehicles, really. People who buy those books don't n- pull the trigger very rarely on books of that caliber.
Well, I would much rather have a Foxhole #2 than the hot book of the week, but I know you're going to disagree. What is the
I
hot
don't
book?
know if I would disagree. The hot book this week, probably for the fourth time we picked this book, Star Wars #1 from Marvel, 1977. I still remember going to the theater with my buddy Dave to see Star Wars, and it was amazing. It was an unbelievable adventure for a kid who, gosh, 77, how old was I? I was 15, 16.
Were you? You're
Yeah.
not much older than me. I was 9.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, well, let's put it this way. I'm 60 now. So how long ago was that?
Oh, you're
That's
right. I'm only 40.
yeah.
So
Anywho, this was a powerful movie for my childhood, and I know a lot of people, also. So, Star Wars #1 was the first issue that adapted the A New Hope, the first Star Wars movie, over issues 1 through 6. Howard Chaykin did the art, Roy Thomas did the writing, and it was everything back in 1977. Everything was devoured that was Star Wars related,
all my
because
money
there's
went to Logan's Run. Sorry.
Logan's Run. It was mania. Star Wars mania would grip the United States. People would go and see Star Wars over and over and over, and multiple times, because there was nothing else like it. I mean, it really was that perfect space opera. And it really just invigorated that whole genre, and we saw a series of movies that came out afterwards that were inspired by the kind of universe that Star Wars created. This book has gone up and down in value. We've seen it all the way up to almost $4,000 back in the height of the comic boom for a 9.8. There is a super rare 35-cent variant of this book, which I'm just afraid to know how much a 9.8 for the
I can
35-cent
tell
variant
you,
for.
I can't tell you what a 9.8 is because one's not come to market, but I can tell you that a 9.4 sold last month of the 35-cent variant. Any guesses? You want to take a stab?
17,000.
$31,200. Now, you're blown away by that. What if I told you it sold in 2023 for $50,400?
Those, because they're so rare.
Can you imagine losing 20K on that book?
Yeah. Well, look at people who bought Ultimate Fallout 4, the Zevik variant.
If only we knew someone.
Oh yeah, that book dropped. It was at its peak. It was a $50,000 book as well. It is not anywhere near that anymore.
I
But
know.
this book is, I think, more impactful. And yet, with the correction in the market, I feel for people who bought it in the height of the the comic book craze. Think prices were definitely inflated back then.
We all fell prey, I think. But you know, all 7,000 of you out there right now that watch this and listen to this, you're like us. You do it for the love of the medium. You do it because you love certain books and you want to own them, you want to flip through them. And that is why we have this segment that you all love called Show and Tell.
Wow, well, that's a great segue.
Hey, but it's true. I always say we don't have the biggest audience, but we have the right audience.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm kissing everybody's butt out there. Thanks, thanks everybody.
I saw a creator who listed, it was the first time I've ever seen this. Okay, if you are it was a tech podcaster. If you are a hardcore fanboy of this particular product, I don't want you here. If you're such and such and such, this is not the podcast for you. And he went through a list of like 5 different things that he was telling people, if you do these things, I don't want you as my audience.
I don't know about that. I like to be a little more inclusive and welcoming, but
that was pretty, I've never seen anybody do that before.
We even like Liefeld fans. Come on in.
We do.
We'll teach you about feet.
Sienkiewicz fans.
Yeah. Stop it. Richard, I'm going to yell. Long-time viewers, you know, if you're one of the new 7,000, you might not realize this, but longtime viewers are used to me ragging Richard about this constantly. I don't understand why you don't get this Astonishing Tales run with Dr. Doom.
Yeah, I should. Because those covers are amazing. I love that. Look at that. That is a great cover.
It's Astonishing Tales #5. And if you're listening on the podcast, it's the Red Skull clocking Dr. Doom across the face. A piece of metal.
Yeah, that is, and you know, and at the bottom there's Khazar, because Khazar is always someplace on these covers.
he's always in the Savage Land, but I think one of the reasons why this book doesn't get the love it should be is the logos are just kind of all over the place. You know, Dr. Doom is shortened to DR Doom, you know, like DDS. It's funny how Dr. Doom got like most of the focus on this split title on the covers, but Khazar is the one that ended up being a success and taking it over and spinning off into his own title. Doom only lasted 9 issues here.
Yeah, and look at that trade dress. I mean, it takes up the upper quarter of the book. And you know, Astonishing Tales featuring Khazar and Dr. Doom. That's a lot of words.
Yeah,
for a title. So
I do. Instead of a hyphen, you get Zabu's head.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, it works. And DR Doom.
We got 10 minutes before this goes to press. We need a logo for Dr. Doom. Everyone is sick to death of me focusing on the logos. I'll stop.
I'm sorry. I do too. All the time.
What you got?
Let's see. What's the next book I want to pick? Oh, this here's a book. I may have featured this before, but I love Marv Wolfman, and I love George Perez. And this particular book is one of my favorite stories from the 80s, the New Teen Titans run. They just knocked it out of the park with this particular run. This is issue #1. It's only an 8.5. It's not a high grade book, but this was one of my original books from my original collection that I had graded, and this is more of a preservation than anything else, because you know I enjoyed this run so much. Just great stories with the main characters. You know, you get the whole story arc with Tara, Dr. Brother Blood. You know, this just some really, really good stories came out of this run, and this is the first issue.
Do you remember if you bought your first experience with the New Teen Titans with Perez was it issue 1, or did you buy the preview in DC Comics Presents 26?
I did not. Issue 1. This is one of I saw it on the newsstand kind of thing.
I bought DC Comics Presents 26 mostly because it had a Jim Starlin cover. And it was by Jim Starlin, and there was like, oh, there's a little bonus book inside. And I read that. I'm like, oh, this is like the X-Men. What is DC trying to do? Are they trying to rip off the X-Men? I must buy this. So I bought it.
You're absolutely right. I mean, that does seem to be the prevailing thought. I just love the detail of the artwork, and the stories are just so good. If there was a DC book I was going to buy every month, it was going to be Titans.
I was one of the few that I bought. I think I bought that. They're most DC, the most Marvel DC titles. I bought that, Fury of Firestorm, Blue Devil. You know, I was buying. I would see things like Amethyst, and I'd be like, "Who's buying Amethyst?"
I have a copy of Amethyst #1 in my collection for some reason.
Older me, I appreciate it. You know, they're trying to, Jeanette Kahn's trying to get girls into comics and women, and, you know, beautiful Ernie Cologne art. But, you know, as a teenager, I'm like, why is this on the rack? That and Jonah Hex and Warlord. Well, get this out of the way. All three books I love now, but back then I was a bit of a little superhero snob. Richard, I'm picking books that you would like. I don't know what came over me. Adventure Comics number 345.
Oh,
you've got Go-Go Checks. You've got Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes. You've got Superboy trying to protect one of the Legionnaires from a blast, but haha, it wrapped around you. We killed him anyway. It is the execution of Matter Eater Lad.
Yeah. Matter Eater Lad is one of the few Legionnaires that had permanent effects to them. Let's just put it that way.
Did he ever get indigestion? This is obviously, well, I don't know. Obviously, I'm guessing. It just smells like Jim Shooter drew a cover and sent it to Mort Weisinger and said, "This is going to be the next issue." He's like, "Go for it, kid. We might pay you." Do you ever got any interest in? Do you have any interest in getting a 60s Adventure Comics run?
I would love one. And it's affordable too. I mean, it's not, you know, most of the books in that run are really, really affordable. And it's just something I've never approached. I have random books through the series as I come across them because they're, you know, I love a particular cover, but I don't have a run of them. That's something.
I have a theme. Books Richard should be collecting but isn't. What's your next book?
My next book, and I'm not sure why it's in this. I love this cover. I always, this is anyway, Detective Comics 571.
Can we take a moment to just bask in the glow of Richard's bag and board?
Not only that, yes, for some reason I bagged this in a bigger. This is a magazine size bag.
Where is it stored? Where do you have it? A magazine box?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember why, and I have not tried to put this in a regular.
Sure. Sorry. Tell everybody what it is first.
All right. It's a cover of, you've got Scarecrow on the cover. It looks like a Neil Adams. Pardon?
Detective Comics issue.
Detective Comics issue 571.
There we go.
You've got Scarecrow in the background holding Robin, and you've got Batman in the foreground. When I bought it, I thought it was a Neil Adams cover because it looks to me like a Neil Adams, but it's not. It's a Alan Davis cover.
A great run by Michael W. Barr and Alan Davis. I was reading Batman at this time.
Yeah, I don't know why this cover stuck out to me as something that was cool to buy. I bought it. The artwork inside is also pretty. It's pretty good, but yeah, I don't know if this is even an important issue. But this is an issue that I really like the cover for. Scarecrow is one of those villains that I really like. So I have a number of covers in Batman that I bought just because Scarecrow's on the cover.
Newsstand. Let's give you points for that. And look at that. I'm going to obsess on logos. I just said I would. What a beautiful Detective Comics logo. I mean, that does look great, right?
It does. It feels. It makes the book feel period, doesn't it? I mean,
yes.
It's great logo.
It's
even
not
that stupid DC roundel in the corner.
Well, it's not like Detective Comics featuring Batman with like a giant Batman logo.
Right.
So that's a good one. I love that run. All right, he's back. No tiny ropes. It is Doll Man as part of the Freedom Fighters. Freedom Fighters #1. This is when DC revived all of the quality comics heroes. You have the Black Condor, Uncle Sam, the Ray, the Human Bomb, Doll Man, and your favorite, the Phantom Lady.
Yeah, God, what a great group of characters.
The gist of this book is they're on a different Earth than Earth 1 and Earth 2, and the Nazis won the war, and so they are the resistance fighters.
I remember reading that book. I remember Uncle Sam. Yeah, I can't remember the storyline, but I do remember reading the book.
Kind of an answer to Marvel's Invaders. Invaders was doing okay, so DC's like, let's get a book where it takes place in World War II on the schedule ASAP. And here you go. Actually had a fake crossover with the Invaders that we've talked about before on the show. Later
and
on,
it's always, they're a great villain. I'm hesitant to say the name again for the filter, but yeah,
here they are. Great cover. Look at that.
I love it. Yeah, and I like the logo even.
Kind of
trade dress.
A sharp condition. All right, what do you got? It's your last show and tell book.
My last book, actually, it's two different books. These are magazine size. These are Black Label books. It's the other history of the DC universe, which is Black Lightning. It kind of tells the story of Black Lightning. This is one cover, and here is another cover of issue 1. But I like this one. This one's really cool. These are, like I said, these are magazine size. These are more graphic novel format, I should say. And it tells the story of DC heroes coming into the universe in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
So Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman came around in the 70s, and by that time, Superman focused on Metropolis, but the suburbs and the areas of the slums of the country were underserved by these superheroes. And so Black Lightning came out as a vigilante because he was trying to serve the people of his community. And there's an interesting story where Superman comes over and leaves Metropolis, and he comes and stands in front of Black Lightning and says he's on the wrong side of the law. And Black Lightning says, well, I'd be happy if you come here and you help us fix what's wrong with this community. I'll stand down. But until you do that, I have to serve these people. And Superman basically very quietly left. There really wasn't any.
I can hear my phone ringing at the Fortress of Solitude. I gotta go.
It's a great story from an angle, that street level angle of Black Light. You get to read his background and how he got his powers. Great book, great story, and I like those kinds of stories from a different viewpoint. You've always seen this. You've seen the viewpoint from the heroes, mm-hmm. and everything's clean cut. Well, there's always an underside, and there's always a more realistic view of things, and this book really takes that angle.
Fantastic. If you like this segment where we show off our collections and you want to be a part of it, why not become a member here on YouTube? Just for $2.99 a month, you get exclusive live member-only streams on Thursdays, now 90 minutes. You get to join us and show off your collection. We had some great guests the last few weeks. We are booked all the way through June, so get in line now. It also helps Richard and I go and pay for all this stuff. It's not cheap. It's not getting any cheaper. Just got to notice that Google Workspace is going up in price.
We use that.
I use everything we use is going up, but you don't want to hear us whine about money. You want to see your name right here as it scrolls by. Over 100 of you have just been so awesome to help us out.
Yeah, thank you.
In 2 weeks, I'm going to be there with Richard and Evan and Forrest and that whole Northeast Ohio crew going to Comic Palooza. This next weekend, I'm coming to Comic-Con Revolution in Ontario, California. If you see me, please stop, say hi. And if you want to join, just click join next to subscribe here. What can I say this week to make sure everybody watched this segment? I can't mention Hookers and Blow for a 4th week in a row.
That's a good question. We'll have to make a list of things that you can say.
If you watch this entire segment all the way through, type Tiny Ropes in the comments.
Yeah, that's appropriate.
Yes, as we pivot to viewer mail.
You've got
Richard,
mail.
take it away.
Okay, my first piece of viewer mail is from Jason DeCerny. And he says, we're talking about grading books. Try EGS to grade your Black Man. I bought the Black Man #1. A matching label would make that comic pop. And I was like, is EGS still around? I mean, there's like zero buzz around them, which is fine. I mean, as long as they serve a market, and I think they do serve a market for people who want more than just the blue label, the yellow label, and the green. You know, if you want something that's key to your book and is more customized, and resale value isn't a concern of yours, because I can't say that there are people who are clamoring for books graded by EGS. EGS has a huge selection of labels, and they'll even do custom labels for you. They are a grading company just like CGC or CBCS. They're just a smaller entity. And because they're smaller, I think they're more responsive to individual requests. I've got a couple of samples here of what their labels look like. I'm not like thrilled by the design of the label, but the fact that they can be customized so that the colors match the color of the book. I think that serves a market for people who are looking for that kind of presentation over grading. I don't want to say
acceptance.
Acceptance. That's a great way of putting it. So yeah, if you're looking for something that's different and you really are looking for your own personal collection, and you may want to give EGS a try and see what you think about what their offerings are. And like I said, they have a variety of different colored labels. You can go to comicsgrading.com is their website, and see some of their samples. And I'm sure the way they make it sound, they'll work with you to get the kind of label you want.
Where's my money for the plug? I didn't get any dollar bills.
I didn't either. I just think it serves our audience in a way that CGC and CBCS doesn't.
I have no experience with these guys. I've never seen one physically ever at any show. Have you?
I have not. I have seen one from another company called Halo.
Yeah, I've seen Halo books.
Yeah,
of course.
I can't say that I've seen EGS, so that is a good thing to say. We're not endorsing them in any way. I'm just saying that's an option that you may want to look at if you're looking for something a little bit more personalized. I
do like that they have differentiated themselves in this customization area. How is that scalable though? Let's say, all 7,000 of our subscribers send their books in with customized requests. How are they going to handle that? I guess is my curiosity.
That's a good question. But these labels, the thing about them is they're printed on a printer, right? Mm-hmm. It's not like they are letter set and there's a whole process that they have to go through. You can, just like CGC does or CBCS, they're printed on a color printer and then added to that slab. So there really isn't that much more work to do for different colors than it would be for a normal label. It's just getting what the customer wants in terms of the color options and then just printing it out.
I think it's a much more manual experience than printing out CBCS or a CGC label.
Yeah, you're probably right, but the scale is never going to reach that level that CBC or CGC has to deal with, because they're dealing with thousands of comics probably in the span of a month. EGS, I'm sure, doesn't have to deal with that kind of volume.
By the way, speaking of slabs, sorry, all you non-slab people, give me 30 seconds here. Beckett dropped their lawsuit against the two guys that left to go start PSA's grading service.
They did. Oh, so maybe we'll see a PSA slab here at some point.
I don't know. I just thought that was interesting that they backed off. Watch Swaggle House for more details on that. From our Instagram account, our friend Carl Tilona slid into our DMs and said, "Hi, John and Richard. Thank you for the great weekly content. I was thinking of all the great artists you were mentioning in last week's show, and I was speaking with a buddy of mine of how much I love the cover of Submariner number 57. Every inch of the cover is filled with action, and the entire composition reminded me of a Golden Age cover. Come to find out, the artist, Bill Everett, created the Submariner back in 1939. Did he draw the Golden Age Namor too? And came back to do the covers and interiors for a few issues in the 70s before his untimely death in 1973. Now I am on a mission to collect the rest of the Submariner covers he did. Any other covers or interior art by him you would recommend? P.S. Also found out he was the co-creator of Daredevil. He only worked on issue number 1. Oh, Carl, I love Bill Everett. Richard, I have this book. I've shown it as an underrated book. It's also the first Bronze Age appearance of Venus since the Golden Age. And that's my first recommendation to you, Carl. After you get all those 70s Submariners by Bill Everett, you got to go get the Venus run.
Oh, no, save yourself.
Bill Everett drew about the last year and a half of Venus. It's gorgeous. They are expensive. They are not cheap at all. The best way for you to experience it is with Fantagraphics Venus Volume 2 volume that came out late last year. Very affordable. But yes, Bill Everett created Namor. Bill Everett drew Submariner throughout the 40s on and off, and came back at Roy Thomas's request in the 70s. He was doing a lot of inking of Jack Kirby at that time. He inked a lot of the Kirby stuff for the Hulk in Tales to Astonish. And then we lost him. Not the healthiest guy. He was in Alcoholics Anonymous. He had kicked the habit. He had kicked drinking. He was getting healthy, and then I believe he had a heart attack and died, which, that's the way it goes. You get healthy and then you drop. But Bill Everett, man, it's just gorgeous. Great pick for Submariner 57. I'm still looking for a super ultra high grade copy. Woof. I think I have a 9.2, but yeah, I love that cover too. Richard, what is your next piece of viewer mail?
My next piece is from our buddy Evan Nave. Evan says, "Ugh, Sentry, rip off Superman with a dark skin personality. Yawn. Thunderbolts was good, the movie, but man, it sucked to see him have such a big part of it. I still haven't seen Thunderbolts. I don't know. Have you been out to see it?
You and me are going to see it when I'm in Ohio. Remember?
Okay.
Yeah. So 2 weeks. Yeah. So don't say anything. I hope they don't change the ads or the billboards or anything for any spoilers.
We're going to make an event out of it. There's a theater here in the Cleveland area that has a great theater, great sound system.
Wine bar?
Pardon?
Wine bar?
No wine bar. This is not California.
Damn.
This is Ohio. You can get popcorn, but you can't get wine. Yeah, so it should be good. I could see the take that the Sentry is kind of a rip off of Superman. I think his whole backstory is kind of, I don't know, contrived. Maybe you didn't. No one knows about him, so therefore, yeah, it's. So I can see that aspect of it. But I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'm looking forward to see how they weave him into the story. And I hear there's some good stuff in this movie. So I can't wait.
I'm seriously, I'm Julie Louis-Dreyfus. I'm in. My next viewer mail is from our email at BronzeAndModernGods@gmail.com from our buddy Star Trek Stu. Hi, John and Richard. Being a person of a certain age, I get to do a bit of traveling this year. We are in Frankfurt, Germany, and came across Germany's oldest comic shop. The store signage simply says comic.
That's great.
It's kind of like with those bars you see where it just has a neon sign that says bar. I love to get drink at bar. It has 3 floors. Top floor is manga. 80 to 90% of the store was graphic novels, all translated into German. According to Ray, the person serving us, and in this picture, the German translations are about 3 months behind the American release. A recent #1 Marvel was €5.99. I managed to pick up 5 American comics. The one being held in the picture was Savage Dragon Destroyer Duck #1. Looks like I have been influenced by the show. I paid €3 each for 5 comics. Regards, Stu. Stu, you got that. You picked that book specifically so you can get on viewer mail. You succeeded. Have you haven't been overseas lately?
Not since high school.
What?
So, no, I have not.
We are dragging Richard to London and Stockholm.
I would love to go.
Yeah,
I would love to go.
against his will, and we'll go funny book shopping. What is your next piece of viewer mail?
My next piece is from Peyton Ardoin, and he says, "Are you saying hard science or heart science?" I'm not familiar with that sci-fi term. We were talking hard science. I think we were talking about EC books at the time. Hard science is
Hard science fiction.
hard science fiction. Yeah, it's more like is based in actual science as opposed to air quote science or comic book science. So I'm thinking moving like books like The Martian, which is completely based on actual hard calculated science, as opposed to things like
2001 versus Star Wars.
yeah, okay, I could see that. I could see that. So yeah, that's what we're talking about. I'm surprised you haven't heard that term. It's used mainly in science fiction novels more so than in comics, because you have more opportunities to expand upon the science in the novels. But yep, that's what we were saying.
Yeah. Maybe a better example is Logan's Run versus Star Wars.
We're still not harvesting people over 30 yet. Not yet.
Man from Atlantis versus Star Wars. I'll wrap it up from our email at bronzeandmoderngods@gmail.com from our buddy and member Frank Leone. Hello, gods. I was wondering about torn covers. I have a handful of Golden Age comic books that I absolutely treasure. They have rather large tears in the covers. Should I just send them in to be slabbed to preserve them, or should I use or have conservator put some sort of conservation tape on them? I love your shows. You guys do such a fantastic job. It's always the highlight of the week to see your shows. Keep doing amazing work, Frank. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you, Frank.
I'm on the side of conservation. What do you think?
Really? No, I mean conservation is going to. I mean, it's going to involve some type. I'm not sure how CGC differentiates between restoration with tape versus conservation. Is it the quality of the tape that's used or the quality of the?
I can tell you.
Okay.
A conserve label means you are conserving the book. You're keeping the cover from falling off. You're keeping a chunk from falling away if the tear is like just barely, if the cover is just barely hanging on to a thread. Whereas restoration is I'm trying to take this 1.8 and make it look like a 5.0 by using paint and tape and leaf casting new pages, all that stuff. That's the difference. Okay.
So if he puts tape on it, does it matter if he does it or if he sends it to some conservation company to do it?
I believe it has to be professional. You can't just put a piece of Scotch tape and you're going to get a conserved label. We're talking about CGC, Richard. Do rules apply anymore?
That's a good point. That's a good point. I've never bought a book that was has a conserved label. I've only seen a couple who are conserved. I've seen a lot of restoration purples, but that gray conserved is something that I just haven't really seen.
I think it's more like if you have a book that's detached at the bottom staple and it's like an action number 3 and you want to keep it from, detaching at the top staple, you're going to reinforce that bottom staple with some archival tape. I think archival tape is the key. Anyone that has experience with getting a conserved label, jump in the comments and let us know.
But I mean, like Golden Age, he's talking Golden Age here specific, and a lot of those books and a lot of early Silver Age have tape on them because it was a part of the process back then. You read the books till they fell apart, and when they fell apart, you taped them together. Those books don't get a restored label.
No, they get knocked down.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think the question here is, I've got this old comic book with a torn cover. Should I slab it to keep it from getting torn more, or should I have it conserved and then slabbed? And I'm kind of on the side of conserved to make it look better.
I'm kind of on the side of just get it slabbed. I mean, you're looking to protect the book. Sounds like the tears are maybe a part of the book. It depends on your history with the books. If you've read them from the beginning with those tears in them, do you really want them to go away, or is it a part of your experience with that book?
What do you guys think? Jump in as I cut Richard off yet again. Sorry. Are you done?
Yeah, it could be done.
You sure?
Yeah.
We're just, crotchety old friends that have been friends forever. We can finish each other's sandwiches as we head toward sentences. Sorry. As we head back to 1985 and the old fart rule. Now, that segue and me cutting you off is because I have the worst gummy old man throat, and I don't want to be coughing this entire show. Hey, it's all circular, Richard. It's all cyclical. Beginning of Star Wars for the Hot Book of the Week, Star Wars #1, 1985, Star Wars 102. You're long gone from this point, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, long gone.
This was as Marvel's Star Wars series was approaching its end. Issue number 102, they're starting to wind down the storyline. It's focusing on wrapping up character arcs and setting the stage for the conclusion of the series in issue 107. In fact, issue 103, the book would go bi-monthly. Can you imagine Star Wars was selling so poorly at this point? It was bi-monthly.
That's bad. Well, by this point, there's no buzz behind it. No movies in the theater.
Yeah, no activity. Written by Joe Duffy, art by our pal Sal Buscema, inks by Sam De La Rosa, and Richard. The most important thing is you can see from this cover the surprising return of Kiro.
Okay,
who the hell is Kiro?
I have no idea.
But he's back with his red helmet. And also, they were trying to lay down the groundwork for a new non-Empire type villain. The Nagai, Luke Skywalker and Lando return to the planet Iskalon to inform Monet of Kiro's supposed death. They discover that the Nagai have enslaved the Iskalonians, leading to a confrontation that underscores the escalating tensions in the galaxy.
Yeah, that's okay. I think at that point they had run out of ideas. Let's bring this guy back.
If you want a Star Wars 102, a CGC 9.8 sold in February of this year for $98.
Yeah, I had to double check. Yeah, The Return of the Jedi came out in 1983. So
yeah, we're 2 years out, almost 3 years out. This is December 85. Yeah. So nothing going on. I think the only thing that was happening Star Wars related was the role-playing game that had come out, the Mayfair Games. So he wasn't approving any licensees. He wasn't doing anything at this point, Lucas. So Marvel's probably like, why are we selling this much and we're paying this licensing fee? I'm sure the numbers were not working out at this point.
I'm sure.
Well, let's move on to our underrated books of the week. Richard, I see what you have here.
My pick this week is a book a title I didn't even know was still in print. Ninja High School is reaching issue number 200. This is Arctic Press. This book was supposed to be released in April 30th of this year. The first issue of this book, I remember buying it back in the day, 1987. This first issue came out. I'm surprised this book was still in print. I had no idea. I don't think it's out there in terms of at your LCS. Yeah, so I went to Antarctic Press's website and they list the series. The series is there. There's no 200 listed on the website. I don't know if that means that they're sold out and they're not listing it. I went, did a Google search on the web for it. There are a number of sites out there that are showing the book as being available, but they're all sold out or unavailable. There is no listing for this book on eBay for sale. This is a ghost. If it actually, I have no proof that this book actually hit the newsstand, so to speak. at all at this point. It was supposed to be out here. We were recording this almost to the middle of May, and this book supposedly came out in the end of April. I don't know if it slipped or if it was such a small print run and people bought it up. I would love to know if anybody has any insight onto this book, because I would love to get a copy of it. 200 issues of Ninja High School, I think, is a great milestone.
I can help you out. I am on Diamond Previews World right now, and Ninja High School issue 201 comes out June 25th. Order it now. And other than that, the only ones that are still available through Diamond are issues 177 and then 193, 94, 95, 96, and 97. I don't see 200. 200 must have sold out at the distributor level.
It must have. I this is one of those FOMOs that I definitely want.
Not only that, just wait. I'm going to show you something else here, and you're going to want this too. This is issue 197.
That's great. That is great.
If you were listening on the podcast, it is a homage to Betty and Me, the famous beat off cover, right into the exact dialogue.
That's great. Yeah, Ninja High School has been in print. Obviously it hasn't been a monthly title since 1987, but it holds the mantle of longest running American manga title. And for those who don't know, it really is a manga. The artwork is very stylized, very manga-like. Ben Dunn does both the writing and the illustration for the book, and it's got a bunch of characters that are manga inspired, including an alien princess, the main character who's just a regular guy that gets caught up in this kind of strange universe, and while he's in high school. Apparently, he's been in high school since 1987, which
right, like Archie,
kind of sad.
Since the 40s.
But if you like manga, it's just a fun, lighthearted title. It doesn't take itself very seriously, and it's the manga equivalent of Guru, in my opinion. It's just something fun to read when you're feeling kind of weighed down by Batman's angst and agita. It's a great book to read.
I wonder if Ben Dunn has done all 200 issues himself.
Good question. That's a very good question. Me not knowing it was still in print, I don't have no way of answering that. But at least the copies that I've seen, I've did some brief research. They all look like his covers were at least done by him. I don't know if he does the interior art for all of them, but I think at least the covers.
That would put him rarefied air like Dave Sim or Eric Larson and Savage Dragon. So
right,
good for him. My underrated book this week is Captain Savage and His Leatherneck Raiders, issue 1. Wahoo! It's Vietnam, World War II fun. I think it's World War II, published during the Vietnam War. Part of Marvel's effort to expand its war comics line alongside Sergeant Fury and a couple of years later, Combat Kelly. It was written by Gary Friedrich, drawn by our man Dick Ayers, who did all those war titles for Marvel. And of course, you've got your it's nothing like Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos, Richard. Not at all. Not at all. Captain Savage is a battle-hardened, no-nonsense leader who first appeared in Sergeant Fury number 10, by the way. And the Leatherneck Raiders are a multi-ethnic, multi-skill team, which Marvel's trying to keep everything diverse, even back then, with great names like Frenchie, guess where he's from? Little Bear, guess what his background is? Roy Blarney Stone.
Okay.
He's Irish. Did you know that? Did you get that? Subtle as a sledgehammer.
Now, why? I'm assuming the guy who's red.
That's Little Bear.
Is Little Bear. He's red. He's not.
That's how Native Americans were colored back then. And, screw a machine gun. Let me have my bow and arrow.
As they burst out of the waves. Yeah, that's. I love the corner box too, because if you look at the corner box, there's the captain and little tiny heads of all the other characters, including that red head there.
Captain Savage is like, "Hi, reader, how are you?" Yeah, of course they crossed over with Sergeant Fury, but tough in grade. This is a tough little war series. Lasted 19 issues. It CGC 9.8 sold in 2020. Height of the comic boom, granted, for $1,383.
Okay.
Meanwhile, for something a little more down to earth, the Boston pedigree of this book is 9.4, sold last year for $380.
Oh,
so very tough series to find outside of a dollar bin in 9.0 or higher. This is a beauty.
Yeah, I love the colors on it. That's great. I love colors from that period of time. I think they outdid themselves in utilizing the technology.
Yeah, you want to run towards the enemy through waist deep water.
Of course you do. On top of it. Yeah.
Sure. All right, everyone. We will see members on Thursday night. Everyone else, we will catch you next week. Have a great one.
Yep. Everybody stay safe.